Stu Morrill's team leading it, heading into the locker room and then coming back out. I don't care if you've coached nearly 900 games in your career. When you're Coach Morrill and you battle what he has seen in the first 8 games, it's still frustrating that when they lead, they lose. When they trail, they win. And maybe that trend stops tonight.
Off to a great start there. David Collette slipping the screen, they call that. His man jumped out to defend it. Collette, instead of setting the screen, slipped it to the basket. That's a nice play coming out of the locker room to give them an elusive basket since they only scored 20 before in the first 20 minutes.
27% from the floor for Bakersfield, 30% for Utah State.
Utah State, remember I said, shot 28% the first half of their last game. This game only 27.
Kevin Mays whistled for the foul. His 3rd personal foul. 3rd key because he's a key rebounder. Despite standing just 6'4", a very important piece is Kevin Mays, but he's got 3. He's got 3 rebounds as well to go along with 4 points. Somehow Collette made that happen.
Another nice set play, a small to big cross screen there. The significance of that is when you got a small guy screening across for a big guy, you can't switch that. And so they've gone to Collette twice, once on a slip screen, and then again to that small, big cross screen there. Collette kind of getting warmed up now, only 3 points in the first half. This kid is averaging 13.
Mays up with it very quickly, firm off the back.
A lot of frustration there with Ahmed. Ahmed, the Roadrunners' leading scorer, with only a couple points. 1 for 3, not scoring a lot, not getting a lot of shots off.
It's interesting with Collette watching the highlight as he asks for the basketball. Let's see if he can turn it into something. He's got a second chance and can't get it to go. We talk so often about height, and we should in basketball. With Collette, we should mention wingspan, too.
No, he's got really, really long arms and really bouncy as well. A lot of times, and after coaching in this state for many years, it takes those return Mormon missionaries a year or so to kind of get their bounce back. This kid is kind of an exception to that.
Which tells you, I would imagine, Coach, that in his spare time, Utah State basketball, he took care of himself, that he worked out, that he was very active in his spare time. From the corner, Jalen Moore for 3.
Nice ball movement by the Aggies there. Passing up a good shot to get a great shot. It's what coaches call making the extra pass. Jalen Moore has got great footwork when he catches the ball. When that ball hits his hand, he is ready to go. The Aggies coming out of the locker room red hot.
Utah State 27-18 heading into the locker room. Both of these teams are hoping to flip the script, if you will, and turn things over, do things a little bit differently, especially shooting. Utah State doing that, but a huge difference for Utah State in the rebounding department.
Well, Utah State, we talked about all the first half. The real Achilles heel all year has been the rebounding, which really is unusual for a Stu Morrill coach team. They got out-rebounded in their last game, only 3 offensive rebounds. They only had 1 offensive rebound the entire first half. Usually his teams really gang the glass.
Bakersfield just 0 for 2 from the floor to start this second half. That has seen 2.5 minutes disappear. It's open on a very positive note for Utah State. And backs it in quick off the glass from the baseline.
That time a much deeper catch where he can get right to his shot before that double team gets there. When you come with that opposite big, that's what coaches call a monster defense, going big to big.
Ahmed's got just 4 points.
Well, I think the
Collette with an answer.
Excuse me, I think the 2 big guys are just playing cousin. You let me catch one down there, I'll let you catch one, because both of them giving up really deep post catches on defense. That might be what you call a gentleman's agreement.
If it picks up the offensive pace, the folks that paid to watch this one are just fine. Collette with the block, he's out front, wants it, Off he goes!
And that's what the Aggies need more of. They need to score off their defense. Usually a very half-court oriented team. Stu Morrill just not a full-court press guy. But, you know, if you can score, get a bucket or two off your defense, that really picks your offense up.
Bodies banged together. Advantage Bakersfield. They end up with the basketball.
Boy, that under the basket is not for a weak of heart right now. It's pretty physical in there. Great block by Collette. Got out and ran the court, doing something hard to get something easy.
Elston Jones now. Collette sits down for just a moment. Joe McGlaston will come in as well. We'll see Chris Smith sit down. Remember, Chris Smith has 8 points. Collette sits down with 11 points, 3 rebounds.
Collette off to a great start. He only had 3 at halftime. The Aggies have gotten out of the gate really quick here in the second half.
We saw Collette with that block a moment ago. McGlaston with the foul. Collette part of a nice bunch of block shots in that game against Utah Valley. That was a game we talked about how they didn't do a whole lot well, but win. Jalen Arrington is at the line.
That was a very, very low possession game. The Aggies only with 47 total shots there. And most college games, you're going to get mid-50s depending on your pace. But when you don't get 50 shots, that you could tell that both teams were kind of squeezing the ball pretty consistently.
But Collette had 5 blocks in that game. The team had 10 blocks. If that doesn't happen, who knows where that game ends up. It's a 3-point win for Utah State. All right, so a 9-point deficit for Bakersfield. Let's see what they have defensively to offer. There's a bounce, there's a rebound that sends it the Roadrunners' way. Moore went for the swipe. Instead, it ends up in a bucket. Boy, great anticipation. Arrington sensed they had lost a defender, and he took advantage.
Well, that was kind of a defensive gamble. It's called gambling for a reason. That's kind of a high reward, high risk type situation. He didn't get to steal, and it caused that dribble penetration and a bucket at the other end. That's what you call creating offense on the defensive end by making a mistake.
Wide open along the baseline. Good, really good read by the freshman Jones there.
No question.
To find McGlaston.
Oh, Jones is going to be a good player here. He's got a live body, really bouncy, got nice soft hands. Again, he would have been a kid that would redshirted in a different set of circumstances, but they are very good at developing young players here at Utah State. Right now, up 7 and heating up in every possession.
These are two teams that have met before, dating back to the 70s. Most of the battles have been since 2006. Utah State and Bakersfield. 7-0 all time. The last time they met back in 2012, Utah State with a 6-point win. Preston Medlin, who graduated last year, had a big game in that one, 24 points. He left this program with nearly 1,400 career points. Rod Barnes glad that he doesn't have to deal with him.
Remember, the Aggies moved from the Western Athletic Conference to the Mountain West. This is only their second year in the Mountain West. Stu Morrow's coached through 3 different league changes in his 17 years here. He came here in the Big West, was what they were in. They went to the WAC, and then a big step from the WAC to the Mountain West Conference. The Mountain West Conference is a very athletic league, and Stu and his staff even admitted the size and athleticism of the Mountain West Conference caught him off guard a little bit.
And now he's got young players dealing with it as well, his team.
Well,
leading it by 8.
Excuse me, Darren, he had a good team last year. They got beat up a little bit injury-wise and only went 7 and 11 in the conference, and you know, they were disappointed in that. They're used to winning and winning pretty consistently here.
Preseason poll had him at 10th. Of course, San Diego State, #1, voted on by the coaches. Boy, great second move after the pump fake by Ali Ahmed.
Well, the Aggies came out of that timeout in their matchup defense that we saw a couple possessions of in the first half, and that's to kind of keep from letting the Roadrunners penetrate, but that's exactly what they did, and Ahmed got a pretty easy shot out of that.
Ahmed's just got 6 points. He's got a pair of rebounds. He's been much more active than that. You would think that the number would be higher than 6.
Well, the Aggies making him the focal point, again, giving up dribble penetration there, and anytime that happens, when you can play from the inside out, whether it's a post catch or dribble penetration causing a double team, that's the way to play offensively. But anytime Ahmed has caught the ball with his back to the basket, the Aggies have immediately come with the other big. Coaches call that, as I said, the monster defense, going big to big, and they have really limited his attempts.
You can see he drew more. He drew the defense there. And he drew a little bit of the ire of the home crowd, albeit much smaller, and I think he had something to say back to them a little bit.
See, that's the reason dribble penetration just breaks you down, because it, again, causes that help situation, and the big freshman Jones coming over to help on dribble penetration, and that left Ahmed wide open. So you've got to guard the ball effectively to keep it from breaking down the defense. Coach Rod Barnes having a conversation with Bob Staffen on the other side. I'm not sure what that was all about.
Yeah, Ahmed was surrounded by his teammates for a moment, seemed to be a little bit emotional, if only for a moment.
Well, he plays with a lot of emotion. I mean, this kid really, he plays like his hair's on fire sometimes. He really gets after it. I admire how hard he plays.
Now the basketball's taken away from Ahmed and given back to him.
An 84% free throw shooter, and he gets there quite often. 32 free throws, 27 of 32. Nice stroke. This kid can I don't think is an NBA prospect, but he could play for a lot of money in a pretty good league probably overseas. He's big and strong and plays hard. Sometimes he's his own worst enemy with his emotions, but I've been really impressed with him tonight.
He had 26 points and 10 rebounds in a 4 overtime loss to High Point. That one's knocked out of bounds. Utah State basketball. Collette just checked back in a moment ago.
The freshman Henry Bolton back in. He's coming off a pretty respectable game. 5 points down at Utah Valley. Remember, the Aggies only scored 50 down there, so contributing 5 is a good contribution for a freshman.
And the senior in there as well, Sean Harris, with some playing time. Chris Smith drops a three-pointer into the ocean for him. He's got 11 points.
Chris Smith, a 44% three-point shooter coming into this game.
Tried to answer back, unable to do so, Tyrell Corbin. The senior Harris up and underneath, and a body on the ground to step over as well.
Now the difference in this half, the Aggies are getting some easy baskets. They didn't get any easy baskets in the first half. Remember, Collette has gotten a couple right at the basket. Collette got another one after that block shot. That on the run out. I talked about they needed to score some easy baskets out of their defense, and that's exactly what they're doing this half.
Sean Harris, the lone senior, his first points of the game. That was his first shot attempt. Double team, there was a man open. Skip pass out of the paint. Defense swarms. Bakersfield tries to make something of it. They've got a fresh clock they can work with.
Well, the Aggies had a great defensive possession going there and couldn't finish it off by getting a rebound. Collette came over and made a great play on a rotation to the low block, and then they couldn't pick off the rebound.
Smith whistled for the foul that time.
The freshman Bolton drawing a big crowd, and Sean Harris, the 6th-year senior there, getting 1 point blank. This Bolton kid.
Utah State 4-4 on the season. Bakersfield, the Roadrunners, 1-8. Head coach Rod Barnes in his 4th year at Bakersfield. And he did have a case he was trying to plead earlier. Really not quite sure what he was talking about. He wasn't disagreeing with the call per se. On his big emotional center, Ali Ahmed. Maybe just campaigning. You coaches campaign a lot.
He could be. You know, he's 14 years as a head coach in the SEC at Georgia State, and now here he knows ins and outs, as they say, where he's from. He's been around the stump a few times.
Brent Rapp went up and grabbed a rebound, an offensive rebound. Sean Harris whistled for the foul.
The seventh team foul, bonus situation for the Roadrunners.
You know, sometimes we make this game way too complicated as we analyze it. All of a sudden, the Aggies shooting 58% here in the second half and up 9 points. And, as Frank Layden, the ex-Utah Jazz coach, told me one time, it's still the most important thing in the game is shooting it in the hoop.
Already into the bonus. Rapp with the follow in the bucket. 7 fouls on Utah State, so the game changes with 11:34.
Rapp's an interesting kid. He leads the team in assists, but is also the 4th leading scorer at just under 4 rebounds. He must have a real nose for the ball because he went up in a crowd and got that.
Yeah, per 40 minutes, he's nearly 8 rebounds a game. So when he's out there, he pitches in. Obviously doesn't play a bunch, about 20 minutes a game.
Well, he's a freshman, so he's kind of learning the ropes. He's got 20 assists and 20 turnovers coming into this game. Obviously, you'd like to cut down the turnovers, but he's a good-looking freshman out of Boulder, Colorado.
His third, 8th team foul.
Well, and that was a mistake by the Aggies. So someone's always got to block out the shooter on that, and that's a mistake that you don't see a Stu Morrill team coach make very well or very often, and this kind of goes along with the newness and inexperience of this team.
Ahmed is at the line, shooting 1 and 1. He's got 8 points when he drops that one in.
Boy, he has really got a nice shot from right there. Nice free throw. Watch the rotation on the ball. He holds his follow through. He's really a talented kid. Like I said, he could go to a pretty high level league somewhere overseas and make a lot of money.
8, then 9, then 10. Since he is from overseas per se, he was a great soccer player as a prepster too. That maybe defines a little bit of his athleticism and bounce for a big fella.
You find that a lot in European players, that soccer was the first game that they played. That's the reason a lot of them have such good footwork.
One more up with it quick, short though. Great hustle play. Looked like it was knocked out of bounds, and a very good hustle play there by Kevin Mays, knocking it off of Sean Harris.
Well, it's back to a 5-point game. The Aggies looked like they were going to kind of stretch it out a little bit, and now a couple empty trips down offensively, and it's back to a 2-possession game.
And Rapp running the offense as he brings up the basketball. Utah State in a 3-minute scoring drought.
Well, man really knows how to post up then. He gets low and wide through his shoulder. Now he got in trouble a few possessions ago, getting a little bit too wide up there. But man, that last pass he made, he went straight to the low block, reverse pivoted, and got all over Sean Harris's body. He is a load to guard down there.
Ahmed's got 11 points. All right, so we talked about it earlier, Coach. At 11:37, Bakersfield into the bonus. They're about to get into the double bonus. Free throw line may determine this game.
No, that's going to play big with a little over 10 minutes to go here. And I'm not sure why the Aggies have not come to double team Ahmed like they were earlier in the game. That's usually been Jalen Moore's duty as soon as he's caught the ball in the post to come double team. But he's got like 3 straight catches now with no double team.
And instead then you get a quick reaction and a foul on the other end that time by Rapp.
That was nice ball movement by the Aggies there. Really unselfish play, always a earmark of the Aggies over the years under Stu Morrill, and that time really got the ball reversed a couple times, and that's the reason they got the ball right to the basket.
Julian Pierre gets the roll on the free throw attempt that time. His first points. Pierre trying to get hot at home. That's something that has plagued him a bit. He's 3 of his last 20 from the floor at home. So his free throws maybe will get him going.
Right back. There comes Jalen Moore over for the double team.
Had some help that time, frustrated, nearly whistled for the foul, going back for the basketball, swung back up top for 3. Well, that'll even things up with regard to that free throw line disadvantage. A 3-pointer, Darius Perkins.
Well, that's his first basket forever and a day. He had 1 point down at Utah Valley in their win earlier in the week, and he had 4 straight double-digit scoring games. He was 0 for 6 from the field and 0 for 3. Earlier in the week, so the Aggies desperately need him to heat back up again.
Perkins had an unfortunate incident in practice. You can see the bandage over his eye. Long 3 off the mark. Perkins will scramble for it. Aggies basketball all the way, and a blocking foul.
Here's that last play and Ahmed's last low post catch. Here comes Jalen Moore. Didn't quite get there in time to seal it away or seal the double team, and then a nice draw and kick at the other end by the Aggies, and maybe Darius Perkins getting warmed up a little bit. You see there in the Aggies much more up and down this half. That first half was a painful, a snail's pace. It was a grinded out. Now they're really starting to get up and down quite a bit.
Smith drops the first free throw in. He's got 12 points.
You know, the other thing that happens up here is you bring teams in like the Bakersfield that have never played in this altitude, and that starts kind of rearing its ugly head about this time of game too, and fatigue becomes a factor.
Maybe that's one of the reasons. Utah State is 49-1 all time when they host any sort of a tournament. This is a tournament, the 2014 World Vision Classic. Gosner Foods, a local company, a very proud company, sponsors it.
As I said in our open, Stu Morrill has won 89% of his home games since he's been the head coach here.
Ahmed can't get the roll. And it's Bakersfield basketball one more time.
Well, that was a nice move by Ahmed there. Great footwork and got it right to the rim and couldn't make it go down.
Senior Harris sits down. Paulette comes back in.
Paulette got a nice breather there. He should be ready to go for the last 8.5 minutes. He's had his hands full down there wrestling with Ahmed the whole time. Those are 2 big old bodies going after it down there.
They both have been up to the task and seem to enjoy the challenge.
A couple times it looked like a 2 out of 3 fall wrestling match down there.
I don't want to get Bakersfield wrestling.
No, that's right. That's right. Although I've never seen a road runner wrestle. I don't know if that's a very descriptive mascot name for a wrestling team or not.
Double bonus now for the remainder of this game with 8:04. A pair of free throws with every foul.
Well, your point well taken. They're keeping themselves kind of in it at the free throw line. Utah State with 10 team fouls now, and the Roadrunners finding themselves quite often at the free throw line.
So Deshaun Richmond misses the free throw attempt. Getting a chance to see Sam Orchard pitch in. Richard is one of the players that his head coach Rod Barnes said could evolve into one of my guys. He said, I'm holding auditions. He's one of my finalists.
Well, he had a 20-point game against Fresno State earlier in the year, coming off a 6.5 rebound game. The problem is when you're on a losing streak, you're 1-8, like Coach Barnes' team is, you keep searching for combinations, and sometimes you find them and sometimes you don't. Right now, I think you get the feel with this Roadrunner team. Coach Barnes, like you say, is holding audition. Who can play together? Who's going to help us here? Who's going to help us break this 4-game losing streak?
Well, I know you have a family member that aspires to be on Broadway, do great things. It's almost as if Coach Barnes is holding tryouts.
No question.
Who wants to step up and play the leading role? Is it that man? The Aggies by 10 on the American Sports Network. Stay with us for more college basketball all throughout the holidays and into the new year. UAB, Robert Brown, the Virginia Tech transfer, really off to a good start for the Blazers. They'll head out on the road to Chattanooga and take on the Mocs out of the Southern Conference, led by Casey Jones. All the action coming your way December 22nd. Happy holidays from everyone at the American Sports Network.
Darren, the Aggies up 10, and you look at the stat sheet, and they are doing some things so well. There's the master 600-plus wins. Stu Morrill, 29 years as a head coach. They have 14 baskets on 12 assists and only 4 turnovers. And you look at that, and you think, boy, they are so efficient offensively. You know, they're shooting 53% this half, which is very good, holding the Roadrunners to 27, but they just seem to hit these droughts where they just can't make baskets.
So it's a 10-point lead. We're led by just a real play. Wheeling and dealing and closing. That's a big fella doing that thing.
He gives you those highlights of things to come. He's got 3 long years to wear that Aggies uniform. That's not an easy play for a 6'2" guard, let alone a guy 6'8".
As we've talked about, at 6'8", he plays more like a guy who's 6'10" with those arms. Athletic.
Back home, they'd say he's got arms like railroads. Wow.
Got those arms out there now to grab the basketball.
Wow,
it's taken away.
Did he go after that? When you talk about rebounding out of area, he came a long way. He didn't get to rebound, but boy, he made a game of it.
Darius Perkins whistled for the foul, his first personal. A pair of free throws now.
Sam Orchard back in the game for the Aggies, the kid who hadn't played a lot but made great contributions in that first half when the Aggies were looking for some offense. He made that great draw and kick to Jalen Moore from the left wing.
Here's Sam, hands on hips, now going to work. Both free throws missed. Tyrell Corbin had an opportunity and could not convert. Corbin's got 3 points in this one.
You know, back to the stat sheet I was referring to, and some of the things that jump out at you that are so positive for the Aggies, but one of the things that is so negative, they have 2 offensive rebounds coming off of games where they had only 3 offensive rebounds, and that is just something that it's hard to figure out. As hard as they play, you would think that you know, getting to the basket and rebounding, which my old boss Rick Majerus used to say, rebounding is an affair of the heart. You just go fetch them, and boy, they play hard, but they just don't seem to come up with any second shots.
Collette makes both free throws, and he's got 15 points. 5 of 7 from the line, 5 of 9 from the floor. The lead is the largest now.
The Aggies now back in their matchup. They've had a minimal amount of success playing this tonight, mostly because they can't finish the possession by getting a rebound. Let's see if they can limit the Roadrunners to 1 shot here.
Mays went up, had it taken away momentarily by Collette. Bodies get tangled. They just hit the reset button on that one, but a nice job by Mays sticking with it.
Mays is really strong. He's got great hands. That's one of the reasons he's a great rebounder. Look, when he secures the ball here, going down into a crowd like that and coming up with it is just straight strength.
So when you hear that a player with his size is in the top 5 in the nation at the junior college level in offensive rebounds, what do you think?
That is what you call strong in your body and strong in your mind there, brother. That's just going and fetching them off the glass. A guy like him usually has great tracking ability where they watch the ball and go after it from the perimeter, and I think that's a great place to rebound from.
Talking about Kevin Mays, but this time the Aggies have an answer on the other side. Chris Smith is having a big night.
Chris Smith just seems to get a lot done very quietly. You almost don't notice him till you look down at the stat sheet. Here's a kid shooting 44% from the three-point line, and he goes about his business almost unassumingly. He never shows much emotion, negative or positive, which is a very good thing.
He's got 15. Colette has 15. Moore has 10. Hustled right back into the hands of Orchard. A little bit more than 5 minutes to go in this one. Utah State looking for wise possessions now, as they lead it by 14. Backs that body in. Colette goes up in a tower. He'll go to the line.
And give Sam Orchard a lot of credit for that. Something that seems so easy, feeding the post like that with a defender between you and the post, is kind of a lost art, and he put it right on the money. Darren, I've had really good players that you could point a gun to their head and they couldn't throw it into the post, and Sam Orchard made that look really simple. Like I say, kind of a lost art feeding the post.
Colette turns it into a three-point play, turns it into an 18.3 rebound night. 6 of 8 from the line, 6 of 10 from the floor. His 18 leads all scorers. His counterpart on the other side, Ahmed, with 11 points to lead Bakersfield.
Colette with only 3 points and 3 rebounds at halftime, so he has led this Aggie charge the second half.
Aggies have shot 58% in the second half. Ahmed right back the other way. He'll go to the line for a three-point attempt.
He is so strong. He's hard to double team down there because he can split. If you don't come down there aggressively and really put a body on him, he's strong enough. He splits that double team like he did then and gets right to the basket. You know, it's amazing. Isn't it a psychological thing? The Aggies playing with so much more pep in their step this half. When that ball goes in for you, all of a sudden, boy, you know, everything starts looking better, and they are definitely playing with a little bit more enthusiasm and more energy this half.
Some pressure in the backcourt from Bakersfield. They bust right through it.
Nice job of handling the ball. No one put it on the floor there. 4 passes to advance the ball.
Reach foul there on Rapp.
Foul is on number 1, Brent Rapp. It is third.
It's his 3rd personal foul.
Stu Morrill holding up 2 fists. That's a sign for his zone or his matchup that we've talked about
What's
earlier.
What's that a sign for?
That's a sign of getting close to being 1 and 9.
Okay.
That's what that sign is.
Well, bless his heart, Rob Barnes feeling it a little bit over there on the other side. His team shooting 38% here in the second half. Just 1 of 11 in the game overall from 3, but that really hasn't been the story. There's a corner and a 3-point bucket. Maynor with the 3 there, and Maynor at least gives a glimmer of energy and hope. His squad down 11.
I think with that 3, that's his first 3 of the game. He now becomes the school record holder in 3-point field goals made. He came into this game tied the active WAC leader in 3-point field goals made. The Aggies have done a pretty good job of keeping track of him from the perimeter.
Tip of the cap to Maynor. As coach was talking about, he has led his squad the last couple of years in 3-point attempts and 3-point makes. Javante out of Atlanta, South Gwinnett High School.
You know, one of the things you hear over and over about Rod Barnes, he's one of the few guys around the nation that I don't know well after being 30 years in college coaching myself, but anytime you bring his name up, they'll always say either what a nice guy or what a gentleman. And Rod Barnes has 14 years of being a head coach, and when you can kind of keep that reputation in this business of being a nice guy and a gentleman, that is a great compliment.
He had an interesting paternal moment, if you will, during shoot around, in the middle of talking offense, defense, in the middle of talking strategy. It's almost as if something snuck into his head, Coach Barnes, the coach of Bakersfield, and he hollered at one player underneath the basket, skipped back up top for the three, and it's off the mark. Hollered at another player up top of the key, and he said, player A, player B, you came in for extra time. We spent some time together this week, and I worked with you. Now, the rest of you, that doesn't mean I don't love you, too.
Well, that's him. That's what everyone says about him. He's just a delightful, delightful person.
And he said, but I'm available to all of you for extra work if you'd like to come in. But, you know, if you had things you had to do, that doesn't mean I don't love you, too.
He has a unique distinction in the SEC. He's the only guy on the basketball side to be all conference as a player and then all SEC.
Utah State opened the season with wins against Weber State and at Illinois State against Santa Clara. Then they found themselves swimming upstream again. Mississippi State a loss, at UC Davis a loss, BYU and USC losses. And tonight in the first half, they will tell you they played pretty forgettable basketball, but not in the second half.
No, they look like a whole different team this half, and David Collette has a lot to do with that. 18 points here for the game. He had 2 at halftime, so he has really asserted himself there.
Sam Orchard, a couple of free throw attempts that came up empty. Those were his first free throw attempts of the season. So that's kind of the playing time he has earned tonight. He had not earned much at all. Sam had played 4 total minutes all year.
Well, he's getting some quality time tonight.
Got a big assist. He's grabbed a rebound. He's 0 for 3 from the line, but he's done a nice job.
Well, that's what I said earlier in the game. You preach to your kids, wait, when you get your turn, be ready. Don't let it slide by you.
Ahmed steps inside of the three-point line. High arching shot attempt comes up empty. Scramble for the basketball.
Great effort by Orchard there.
And it ends up in the hands of Javante Maynor, who will go to the line.
Boy, Orchard looked like a wood rat going after that one there. Man, did he get down. That's one of those in the film room you say, now why can't we all do this? You know, look at Sam Orchard. He sat over there. Watch him get after this. And almost comes up with it. Did come up with it. Just good. It's tough to make a pass when you're laying on your back and about 2 guys hanging on you.
There's a lot of size 13s kicking in there, too. Looked like an uncomfortable place to lay your head. Orchard sits down.
Orchard earns a little tap on the backside by the head coach, Stu Morrill.
Good night to be an Aggie. In this building, it's always a good night to be an Aggie. Almost all the time.
Javante Maynor, now the all-time leading three-point shooter at Cal State Bakersfield. The senior, what'd you say he's majored, minor? Science and biology?
Biology is his major. His minor is chemistry. They're going to discuss just a moment ago. The officials got together and they wanted to take a look at something, so we'll see what they're taking a look at.
I have no idea what they're looking at there. Sometimes I think they just need a break. They get tired and they make something up. Let's take a break, go over and act like we're looking at something.
Bob Stafford, Brent Moe, and Ryan McDaniel, the officiating crew. Across the way at the officials' table.
A lot of excitement this weekend here in
so they want to check out the scrum on the floor here. if they're keeping an eye on why, in fact, Jalen Arrington ended up with a blow upside of the head, it was from one of those size 13s.
Yeah. I think there was any punches thrown or anything like that. Just a bunch of guys on the floor. I was getting ready to mention big excitement around these parts for the weekend. The Aggies playing in the New Mexico Bowl versus UTEP. And congratulations to the Aggie football staff. Well, they have come a long way football-wise here in the last 3 or 4 years. Played in the Mountain West Conference championship game. Unfortunately got beat by Boise State, but find themselves in a pretty nice bowl game over in Albuquerque.
Take a look at what they are looking at from the low angle. See Arrington go down, and it's right there. He's, with no intent, his teammate Tyrell Corbin right over the top of the side of his head and ear there. So they continue to take a look at it. .227 to go in this contest. Utah State up by 11 on top of Bakersfield. Coach Stu Morrill kind of helping to officiate. Coach Morrill getting a little frustrated with the delay here. Wants to get things going, get it figured out.
Well, the people behind us are saying they're reviewing something that's completely away from the ball. If I'm understanding that right, I'm not sure what is going on.
That's what's going on. Big Blue. Hopefully Big Blue's okay there.
Big Blue is going to have a bad Christmas if he keeps trying some of those things.
All right, he loses
Blue
a
needs to be
timeout.
careful. Yeah.
Both coaches very patiently waiting. I'm not sure that either one of them know what they were looking at.
Cal State Bakersfield loses a timeout.
I have no idea.
Maynard's at the line.
2:27 left, and they lose a timeout. I'm not sure what that is.
We'll move right along.
Yeah,
Coach.
there you go. I didn't see any yellow flags thrown or anything like that, so who knows. After the make, the Roadrunners will pick up full court now. Trying to herd the ball up the side in this 2-2-1, and that's exactly where you want to attack it, get it in the middle. Jalen Moore is a great guy to have in the middle. He's a long target, and then he can make a play off the dribble, just as he did.
Well, he didn't. He opted in that position just to go up for a shot that he never would attempt because he realized he could draw the foul. He'll shoot a pair.
Jalen Moore with 10 points, 5 rebounds, having a tough shooting night. 3 of 9 from the floor, 2 of 6 from 3. He did lead his team in that game that they broke their 4-game skid with 14 down at Utah Valley earlier in the week.
Well, he was a nationwide sensation with the highlight. His senior year, his team won the 4A title, Skyview High School in the state of Utah. In the semifinals, he hit a half-court shot for the game winner.
Yep.
And they didn't just see it here in Utah, the nation saw it. It was replayed on every channel, on every sports highlight show.
Much like his father, a very classy kid as well. Good student, really active in the community around here.
Well, this feels like a community in the brief amount of time as getting to know folks here.
Sure.
Well, that's almost expected of young men here.
No, that's exactly right. And
feels like that kind of community.
If you don't fit into that mold here as an athlete coming to this community, you usually don't last very long.
That man lasts a long time, though. He sits down, Colette with a great night.
They'll let him stay as long as he possibly can.
Colette with 18 points, 3 rebounds. That whistle was his 5th foul, so that sits him down. Mays averaging just under 9. You see those 10 rebounds. He has just 6 points. A spring in the step of Moore to grab that board. Jalen's got 12 points, 5 rebounds, has an assist as well. Mays takes it the other way after he picks the basketball off.
The Aggies now in the waning moments playing Julian Pierre as the point guard, and he is not very comfortable in that position, as you saw him just turn it over there. Maybe that's the reason Coach Morrill has him there, to try to get him comfortable in that position.
Waiting to be fouled, and he is fouled. Elston Jones will head the other side and go to the line. Third foul on Tyrell Corbin. Just 3 points for Tyrell. Came in averaging 5 a game back home here in Utah.
Well, Darren, with 1:42 left and up 10, if the Aggies all of a sudden go blind from the free throw line, the Roadrunners could get back in this and make it real interesting here at the end.
Yeah, they fouled the freshman with that in mind. These are just a handful of free throw attempts he's had all year long.
Well, that second one looked a lot better than the first one. The first one resembled more of a chunk than it did a shot. He just kind of chunked it up there.
Just 4 attempts all year, yeah. 3 of 4. Trying to find a look at a 3. It's not there. It's dribbled off the leg of Jones, and it goes out of bounds. Roadrunner ball. Not only was Rod Barnes one heck of an SEC coach, he was also an All-American. He's a member of that Ole Miss Hall of Fame as a player. And to the line goes Mays.
After I made the point about Julian Pierre not being comfortable at the point position, Darius Perkins re-enters the game, the starting point guard. Perkins from Fort Myers, Florida, and Miami-Dade Community College. I think he's a little cold this time of year up here after that environment. That'd be a little bit of an adjustment. But as coaches would say, it's 70 degrees in the gym and the library where you're going to spend most of your time.
Spoken like a true coach. Somehow I think that line was used at some point by you before. More than a minute to go as we head to that mark.
1 minute. 1 minute remaining.
Mays can't get it. Moore knocks it free. Ahmed, a great hustle play.
Well, the Roadrunners still playing really hard. Wow.
There's that rebounding ability with Mays, and turned into a bucket by Brent Rapp.
Well, Mays came out of nowhere to get that rebound and got it with 2 hands. I talked about his strength, and he took that away from a couple angles.
And still the effort there. This is impressive. It's a 6-point deficit. Now it's a turnover. Here we go.
Second steal by Warp since he's been in the game.
Stop. Pop 3, and it's good. Tyrell Corbin, who hasn't done a whole lot, does something big. It's a 3-point deficit. 25.6 seconds to go.
It was 1:42 when I said a little less than 2 minutes to go down 10 that the Roadrunners could get back in this. I was kind of referring to, there's the first steal by the freshman Rapp as he came in the game. Here's the last one. I talked about how many rebounds that kid was averaging, just under 4. Talked about great basketball instincts. Now he's picked up 2 steals. He's got his team back in it just single-handedly almost with those 2 steals. Now the Roadrunners need to sell out to try to steal this inbounds pass or a hard trap, but then they're going to have to foul. They can't let the Aggies run too much clock. And again, if the Aggies aren't efficient at the free throw line, it could be a bad ending here tonight.
3 turnovers in the last minute 25. Well, Coach said before the game, Rob Barnes, I'm looking for somebody to step up and take that big shot for me. I don't have that guy yet. Corbin just had a big one. He's got a lot of basketball in his blood for sure.
For the Aggie starters in, with the exception of Collette, who fouled out, and Sean Harris in for him. Wilburn is going to have to get there and foul. Wow.
Launched full court and turned over. Who wants to take that shot to tie it now? It's intended for Sean Harris.
Julian Pierre, the freshman from Texas, having a rough couple possessions here. That's what you call growing pains by freshmen. Now the Roadrunners down 3 do not have to go for a 3-point shot there, and they can run it down with their quickness, try to get it all the way to the basket, try to draw the foul. If they get it to the basket and score, they have they have no timeouts left, so that puts a different spin on things. But I think if you're Coach Barnes, you tell them, let's try to get it to the paint. If you can kick it out for a good 3, take it. If not, take the 2 and let's press them again and foul again. They've had a lot of success with their press. The Aggies have kind of helped them. But 2 steals and then a turnover by the Aggies. Expect them to give it to one of their guards, either Corbin or Maynard, and get it as deep as they possibly can. Now the big decision for Stu Morrow, do you fall back into your zone or do you stay man-to-man? If you're man-to-man, you are over there imploring your players to keep your man in front of you. Do not gamble and give up that dribble drive.
An 8-0 run in just over a minute. An 8-0 run. They've taken advantage of that. All the free tickets they've been handed with those turnovers.
Inexperience for the Aggies. Remember that you had 2 freshmen out there on the court when those turnovers occurred. And one of them, unfortunately, Julian Pierre, committed at least 2, maybe all 3 of them.
They dump it underneath. The man lowers the elbow, the shoulder. It's an offensive foul, and that's a good call.
It is. I like the call, though, by Rod Barnes. Everyone expecting a hard drive, and they kind of ran into that cross screen for their leading scorer. And once again, Ahmad, I've said 2 or 3 times, sometimes his own worst enemy. He's plenty skilled enough. He could have gone up and had a pretty good shot at it.
Boy, wide open on the other end. Sean Harris asking for that basketball to get tossed in. Now they'll play. Harris has a man on him now. 7.8 seconds. Tip up. Great effort. Diving wrap ends up in the band over there in the corner. Remember the Utah State security.
Now this is a real awkward place to have the ball out of bounds. You can't really run your press attack from here. It's almost like you have to tilt the court in your own mind. Look for them to continue to go over this first line of defense into one of the bigs, Harris or Jalen Moore.
And the foul quickly. Mays hands it out.
Very smart play there, but boy, if that one got picked off, that would have been right at the basket. I've seen a lot of coaches run into out of bounds plays from that place because all you got to do is get it in and get a catch. You know you're going to get fouled.
Double bonus, by the way, a pair of free throws to be attempted. Harris at the line for the first time this year.
He needs to hit one of them, obviously, to make this a 2-possession game.
And he does.
And you hear the crowd, a long, loud cheer, not so much for that basket, but for Sean Harris. The kid has overcome a lot of hardships to come back his senior year here.
And a nice moment for him to be on the line with the chips down, and as seniors are expected to do, despite having no experience at the line this year, drop it in there.
Yes. You know, he's a kid who went through senior night last year. I had that game on TV here. His mom and dad were here from the Sacramento area, and then they appealed the NCAA, and he was able to get that last that additional year back. And again, it's great to see a kid like that who's had to overcome so much have some success.
One of 6 children, his mom Cynthia, his dad Roy. He was his team's most inspirational player last year, as voted on by his teammates. His coach talked about 2 ACL injuries, 2 serious knee injuries.
The third guy they've had here in the last couple of years from Yuba Community College himself, Chris Smith, who's having a terrific year. And then they had a kid who had 2 all-conference years in the the WAC. I'm sorry, 1 all-conference year in the WAC, and was a very good player in the Mountain West last year, Spencer Butterfield, all from Yuba Community College.
Up in Northern California, Yuba Community College. And he's got one more shot at it. 5.7 seconds to go. 4-point lead. And it remains a 4-point lead.
The Roadrunners with no timeouts left. That really limits their opportunities.
And
wow.
wouldn't you know it?
Wow.
That's why that free throw was big. That is a contest. 1 point, 1 free throw, and it was a big one.
Another tough loss for the Roadrunners, but there's no such thing as an ugly win for anyone, but certainly for the Aggies right now, who moved 1 game over 500 to 5-4.
They are 5-4, and for head coach Rod Barnes, a tough start to this year. His team 1-9. For Stu Morrill, the wins continue to stack up. 389 in his career at Utah State. 57-56 is the final. And again, a big second half for Utah State, but a great final minute and a half for Bakersfield. They hope they can take that for the positive going forward. He's Joe Cravens, fine color analyst. Enjoy working with Joe. My name is Darren Sutton. Marty Tarr is our producer and director in the truck. Remember, tell your friends this is the great place to catch college football, college basketball all around the land. Tonight, Utah State victorious on top of Cal State Bakersfield. You're watching the American Sports Network. We'll see you next time.